Road 96, a running away from home simulator about a teen's journey through life trying to escape from their tyrannical government. How are they going to escape, you might ask? Well, there are a few forms of travel in this game. However, it is heavily insisted that you will be hitchhiking. In the game's description on Steam, it even says, "Hitchhike your way to freedom in this crazy, procedurally generated road trip." Immediately once I discovered this, I too wanted to overthrow the tyrannical expectations set forth by the game developer and complete this game without hitchhiking. So let's find that out today. Can you beat Road 96 without hitchhiking? Before we begin, let's set some rules in place. There are only two, and they're both extremely simple. Or at least they should be. Rule number 1. Don't die. I thought this one was pretty obvious, but I felt the need to include it. Rule number 2. Don't hitchhike. After all, that is the whole purpose of this video. And that's it. Now that we have set the rules in place, let's begin the challenge. Here's where our treacherous journey begins. 1,358 miles away from the border and obtaining our sweet freedom. We enter the world right outside of the entrance of a super awesome party. Here's where we meet the first main character. She just so happens to be the most famous celebrity in all of Petria, and her name is Sonia. So apparently this party is for famous people only, but with a little bit of sweet talking, we managed to convince her to let us enter the party with her. Once we make it in, after a little bit of exploration, we find Sonia sitting at a table playing a game with a man. After reluctantly agreeing to play along with them, I also end up sitting at the table to play as well. This ended up being very beneficial actually. By playing the game a few times, we managed to make ourselves a good chunk of money. After we finished farming that poor man, I walked over to the bar, grabbed a nutritious bite to eat, that way we'd have some energy for the road ahead. Then, we met back up with the limo driver, discovered that Sonia had just decided to leave, so we did too. I found this cozy looking cardboard shelter sitting here and decided to take a little nap. To my surprise, when we woke up, some nice person left us a perfectly good cheeseburger sitting here. So I did as any starving, running away from home teen would do, and I ate it without any hesitation. With our newfound energy and enthusiasm, we march onwards down the road to fulfill our destiny. Only to find out that walking takes 3 energy? This could become a problem in the future, so we better keep an eye out for any form of energy we can to make sure we make it all the way to the border. Otherwise, we might end up lying on the side of the road. After a short walk, we make it inside this creepy abandoned building. I will say I was a bit hesitant to enter, but to my surprise, we immediately find some cash laying on the table, as well as a nice, crisp soda to regain some of our lost energy. When we turn the corner, we meet our next main characters, Stan and Mitch. These guys are really something, and with no other option, walking the plank it is. Can't imagine what's gonna happen next. Yep, we fell. Who would have guessed? Anyways, they decided to rob us for all our hard-earned cash, and then knock us out, of course. Well, at least we didn't die. This part needs a bit of lore explanation. So basically, these guys are in love with Sonia, and there's some crazy psycho guy plotting his revenge to murder her. Like any normal people would do, Stan and Mitch decide to devote their life to tracking him down. That way they can get rid of him before he harms their precious Sonia. They've gathered all these clues and task us with putting them together to determine the date of his attack. In exchange, they promise to return all our hard-earned cash. Oh yeah, I might have messed up the first time, but luckily they're nice enough to give us a second chance. Second time's the charm, right? After invoking our inner Sherlock Holmes, we managed to escape this crazy couple by climbing this ladder to continue on with our journey. This time I chose to take the bus. It seems like a wise choice since we have the cash to spare, and it shouldn't use up all our energy like walking did. The next scene enters with us riding on a bus. This is where we meet the next main character, Alex. While Alex is busy playing keyboard warrior in the back seat, we choose to eat whatever was laying next to us, and then we have a short conversation. Since it was nothing too important, I just decided to take a nap. This allowed us to regain some energy. When we wake back up, Alex is on the phone with one of her friends, who they claim is in a group, and is helping them in exchange for some information about her family. I didn't ask too many questions and just began helping them. We were tasked with fixing this scanner so that we can listen to the police radio station. Being the tech guru that I am, it took me no time at all to solve these puzzles. Alex has a short conversation with their friend and proceeds to do whatever they needed to do. They then gave us a tape in exchange for all of our hard work and troubles. Afterwards, I let them know I was planning on staying on the bus for a little bit. However, Alex decides they're going to get off. This was the first and last time we encounter Alex on this run. Here's where we get off the bus, only 36 miles from reaching the border and completing the challenge. We end up at the Night Skies campground, and coincidentally, it just so happens to be nighttime when we arrive. We immediately meet this nice lady and compliment her cat. Luckily, he's a nice cat and decides to let us give him a quick pet. After that, we find these people arguing about rent money. Typical campground stuff. The girl sitting on top of the camper is Zoe. We then have a super cool, awesome dance session. Then, once again, we go to sleep. But this time it's on some uncomfortable cardboard. Luckily, the beautiful night sky puts us right to sleep, and we regain our final bar of energy. One thing I learned doing this playthrough is that sleeping is very OP. We get rudely awakened by Zoe, who wants us to come hang out. Then, she decides to make fun of my ability to play instruments. It's so bad we wake the owner up and get kicked out on only our first night of staying there. I say my goodbyes and decide to continue the rest of my trip on foot despite the energy constraints. That way we can avoid any problems. We arrive on the side of the road with an 18-wheeler in the distance. You know, sometimes in life, you just have to take a moment to relax and enjoy the beauties all around you. After this short moment of relaxation, we get interrupted by a man screaming for his mama bear. This crazy guy is John, the next main character. This was my favorite interaction with the character. It was a lot of fun. We played some games, and to no surprise, he had no chance of beating me in any of them. I became Ronaldo for a minute, and we had a fun game of soccer. He managed to block the final goal, but it's okay, I still won anyways. It cuts to us having a deep conversation with John about life as we look out over the beautiful scenery once again. Unfortunately, we don't have time for this nonsense. We have a mission to finish. I quickly got away as fast as I could and decided to proceed on foot once again, despite the energy usage. This brings us to Road 96, only 9 miles away from the border with 2 bars of energy left. We've made it to the home stretch. As we begin walking down the beaten path of former escapees, we hear the sound of police sirens. After a quick moment of hesitation, we do as anyone else would, and just jump down into the road right behind them. Luckily though for us, they didn't notice, so we continue eagerly down the path, anticipating our escape. The beautiful waterfall is there only as a distraction from our goal. We must stay focused and keep moving. Of course, that is right after we spray paint this rock with some inspiring words, and add a stone to this pile as a symbol of our journey. We then enter the gates of heaven, only to find it just brings us back to the next road with another police officer driving by. Oh well, we must keep moving to our final destination. Ah, yes, 0 miles from the border. We finally made it, but the challenge isn't over yet. We still have to actually cross the border. Otherwise, our entire journey would just be for nothing. Before continuing, we grab some snacks and drinks from the nice gentleman and receive a good luck charm from the cute pig on the table. Now, I know what you're all thinking. How are you going to cross now that you've come all this way? Well, by hitchhiking on this truck, of course. You know, I can't believe I actually did this. Somehow I thought this was okay. and I didn't realize till I was editing this video that this technically is hitchhiking. But don't worry, I'm not gonna do that to you guys. I decided to go back and play through the entire game from scratch. After speedrunning, I made it back to the end to prove that it is possible to beat without hitchhiking. After performing the dreaded walk of shame, we talked to the nice couple again and bought a snack to refill our energy, but instead of being a complete idiot this time and getting on the truck, we went to the left. On the way down, we ran into this creepy looking dude and he was wearing all black. But luckily, he's on our side. And once I let him know why we were here, he just lets us pass. I entered the camp and ran all the way to the back to try and reach the door. But once I got there, I realized it was locked. Conveniently, the guy standing right next to it had a solution. It wasn't free, of course, but I had the cash to spare, and I bought the card from him. This allowed us to enter the door and make our way into the tunnel. I made it inside and opened the gate, then speed ran down all these stairs. If this was real life, I'd have to take a couple breaks here. I made it all the way to the bottom and grabbed this flashlight before crawling through the small tunnel that takes you to another hallway. After I got through, I was met with a couple doors. One was locked, so I just went through the one that was unlocked. This took me into a dark and creepy hallway. Out of nowhere, it just turned into a horror game, and since I was too scared to check behind me for monsters, I just kept running forwards. I made it all the way through, and I met this man whose family had got trapped down here. We had a short conversation, but it was pretty boring, so I just kept on going. It took me to another dark and scary hallway, then we reached a choice of two different paths. I went with my gut and took the one on the left, and hoped that this didn't cause me to end up like the last guy. I ended up reaching another door and opened it with my card. Immediately after doing this, it sounded the alarm, so I just started running as fast as I could and ignored the guard who was standing at the door telling me to open it. Like, why would I do that? Anyways, with only 15 seconds left to take 5 steps to the door, it was very close, but I managed to reach the gates of heaven once again and gain my freedom from Petria. That's right, everyone. We made it across the border without hitchhiking a single time. It was a long and treacherous journey, even though that's partly my fault for making it extra long because I'm stupid. But nevertheless, we still made it. Thank you so much to everyone that has watched this far into the video. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It would mean the world to me. I had a lot of fun making this challenge video and it took me forever to finish. This is my first time making a video like this, but I hope to do more in the future. Those of you who have played Road 96 will know this isn't really the entire game. So, if you would like to see me attempt to complete the rest of the teens' journeys without hitchhiking or possibly another challenge, let me know down in the comments and I'll make it happen. Anyways, until next time, thanks again for watching and I'll see you guys in the next video.